Aloha, fellow tankers. It's time for yet another fabulous display of the most ridiculous, most fantastical, most bestest replays of all replays around. On this week's episode of Best Replays, we'll be proving the impossible possible. Yes, the thumbnail didn't lie. You can deal 10,000 damage in a World of Tanks battle, on several maps and in several different vehicles, no less. With that said, onward to the destruction. Our first featured player is Vanya from the Email Clan. Here he is piloting this classic brutalist vehicle, the WZ-121. With its 3D style, it sort of looks like it belongs to a post-apocalyptic orc or super mutant. I mean that in a good way, of course. Here we are at Mountain Pass with our patented Doomsday vehicle situated on the bridge. We spot a convoy and send a potent message that they're not allowed to cross. You shall not pass! Okay, can y'all do a better Gandalf than me? Let me know in the comments. We won't need to fall after them. There are enemies on the glacier lying in wait. Not to mention their friends eagerly pushing towards our base. There's gonna be a heck of a lot of them here soon. Our best option is to spray and pray, hoping to take down as many of them as we can. The enemies are swarming us, swatting away our allies like pesky flies. They've got more armor, more HP, more guns, but hey, we've got a solid defensive position at least. Plus, we have a solid combo of alpha damage and DPM at our disposal, and the aid of the mighty FV-183. Luckily, our heat shells pack 340 millimeters of penetration, so it'll chew through this Japanese tank's armor no problem. And the rest of our allies are targeting the Object 277. The threat from the ravine has been extinguished. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. We're still losing. Badly. There's too many of them. It's time to go for a Hail Mary. Let's go, FV. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. Believe, dang it. All right, let me try something else. Okay. So now we're totally screwed. And then the Wheeler. The Wheeler fired at the FVs, so hey, at least it's useful. Carefully peeking out of the crease, since we can't afford to expose one sliver of skin lest we give away our position. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't necessarily stop enemies simply driving by and calmly shooting at us. But we ain't running. That would only provoke them to swarm us like angry insects. So instead of running away, what we are doing is retreating, which is very different. Also, there's this hidden threat on the other side. This is where the ominous boss music would kick in. Looks like the enemies finally realized they got us outnumbered. We fire back bravely and manage to pick off a few of the one-shotables. An EBR is circling us like a shark, and a Jägerpanzer is menacingly crawling towards us. And on the other side, there's an IS-32 with both guns pointed at us. We're surrounded. Well, that's just great. We're down, but we ain't out. We finally managed to take out the EBR and then set our sights on the IS-32, which somehow spawned a T-95 right next to it. Oh, and don't forget about the nasty Jägerpanzer behind us that can crush our armor like a tin can. Things are going great! For some well-earned good news, an ally managed to distract the T-95. We finally catch a break. The T-95 is sent packing, and now it's time to give that Jägerpanzer a little taste of its own medicine. Our lovely, wonderful ally here comes to our aid once more against the IS-32. Ain't teamwork grand? Now that we finally have some breathing room, it's time to turn the Jägerpanzer E-100 into a Jägerpanzer E-0. We've finished the main course, so now it's time for dessert. A tasty little arty. Hats off to everyone for an excellently played game. Even when the chips were down, way down, a healthy amount of kudos to Vanya for literally sticking to their guns, dishing out an incredible 10,688 damage. Congrats once again for a well-deserved Master Steel Caliber title. Our next fine specimen is ChrisDxi, who manages to break all records of damage with an unconventional method, spotting. Let's hop into his EBR 105 and start doing some recon, scouting out the enemy routes. Sending someone from the red team away with a little warning shot. Looks like they didn't get the hint. We'll speak a little louder this time, though we only managed to break their wheel. If the enemy EBR is always in the center, let's head for the alley and see if we can spot anyone else. Usually, we can find some light tanks chilling in the bushes, but weirdly, there aren't any. Oh, hey, look! They're heavy saw light at the end of the tunnel. Let's head back to the center for a bit and update our intel, and also allow our alley-bound foes to make some mistakes. Mistakes were made. Time for some punishment. The E100 didn't lose just because it was spotted. See, it's only 100, and the EBR is 105. And the PZ7? That's only 7. You can't win with those small numbers. Tanks are numbered based on their power, right? Anyway, the green team takes the lead thanks to our solid recon skills. And also the damage to the enemy EBR too, I guess. Now that it's one-shottable, we can afford to take some risks. Out we go, but looks like we made a little oopsie while firing. Missed again. Hey, at least we spotted the Jägerpanzer in 705A. Ah, the sweet sound of 10,000 for spotting. Delicious. Let's not get cocky though, things are far from over. The opposing EBR managed to escape, so we can safely stroll along the lowland, right under the noses of the red team. Ah! Don't startle me like that, wheeled vehicle. Looks like it's trying to, do something. Now we have free reign. We drive into the rear, punish the arty, and spot some heavies until the very last moment, earning the assist. And we even deal a bit more damage just for the fun of it. Points are points, you know. Let's give it up for ChrisDxi for assisting with a whopping 17,736 damage. The grand total is, breath, 19,113. Spotting and scouting may not be the flashiest playstyle, but it just goes to show you that supporting roles are just as worthy of accolades as leading ones. Light tank players unite! Our last featured replay comes courtesy of PotOfPotato, who peels out in a different wheeled vehicle. PotOfPotato's sweet ride is a T110E3, kitted out with the perfect equipment for this specific vehicle, turbocharger and hardening, which fits this mobile fortress perfectly. We bring our armored fortress to the airship and don't rush to fire. The enemy isn't leaving themselves open, and they're trying to provoke us to fire. We return fire and retreat to hide in the lower glacis plate. We cover the machine gun turret just in case. You never know, sometimes it gets penetrated. The enemies are circling our injured Object 260 like a pack of wolves. Well, it'll cost them dearly. I'm no economist or anything, but that doesn't seem like a great exchange rate. With the E100 lost, the enemy makes a hasty retreat. Time for a counterattack. We approach the airship and see a 183mm Screamer. We could attack, but there are too many tanks covering it. Let's just play it safe by going into cover and punishing any mistakes. Like this mistake, the 268 version 4's rangefinder is unwell. Don't worry, little fella, it'll heal back in your garage. The FV fired, opportunity time! We load up a hefty APCR, wait until the E100 stops raising its turret. Steady now. Boom! 360mm of penetration sends it to the scrapyard, and then the FV heads towards us. But the T110E3's lower glacis plate is too much effective armor, especially if you fire at it top down. The Super Conqueror is super effective at penetrating the roller. Well, at least we've still got our HP. Speaking of that 360mm of penetration, you could penetrate the Kranwagen's turret with that amount if you have the higher ground. Yet another large caliber monster. We gotta be careful here. Don't go looking for trouble. Not that we need to anyway, since we can reclaim our previous position and keep the red team at bay without much risk to ourselves. This, however, looks like a risk. Losing 1,000 HP at once would suck, so let's go down. Provoking the Conqueror to fire. Aiming. and sending a supersized kick to the turret ring, putting the Super Conqueror out of super commission. We can't celebrate just yet. The Jägerpanzer E100 is charging right at us. This is the second time this tank has acted like some kind of final boss. Fortunately, our allied E100 is behind us and manages to distract the boss, and receives the inevitable shell, courtesy of ourselves, straight to its lower glacis plate. An eye for an eye, though, as the FV manages to take down our allied E100. We were just a smidge too late to counter it. The situation looks dire, to say the least. All by our lonesome against an FV, Jägerpanzer, T110E3, and a Super Conqueror. That's hardly a fair fight. But we're in it to win it, though. Attack! The enemies try to catch us while reloading, but they're forgetting just how much dang armor is on this fortress. 177, a nasty HE shell. Finishing off the FV, and got penned by the heavy. Well, this stinks. The only thing saving our bacon is our allies, keeping the E3 from getting behind us. The enemy makes a mistake, and we toy with their reflexes. Nice. Now we have a real shot at this. And the shot got even bigger! During the battle, a whole fleet of enemies couldn't smoke us out of our advantageous position. And boy howdy did they pay for it. That's it. One more to go, and it's back to the garage. With 11,000 damage dealt. This isn't just the steel wall of the month. This is the Master Radley Walters Heavy Caliber Wall. What did we learn today? What's the moral of this story? What is a 10,000 damage battle? Well, kids, a 10,000 damage battle is a very special feeling you get when your opposing team is thoroughly, completely dismantled. Also, it's a testament to your skill laced with a bit of luck, making the most out of every interaction and wisely using every resource available, whether you're way ahead or way behind. So good luck out there, Commanders, and may you, too, have yourself a nice 10,000 damage battle. And if you do, make sure to send it to us for the next best replays of the month. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for even more awesome WOT content. See you next time.